How about that cigar?
Oh, how about that cigar?
Thought your mic was turned off for a second.
Yeah.
Guys, welcome to episode 129 of How About That Cigar Live. Thank you so much for joining us live on Facebook, live on YouTube. And for those of you listening on the audio podcast, thanks again so much for listening to us while you drive down the road, work out, whatever it is you do when you listen to your favorite audio podcast. Thank you so much for making How About That Cigar a part of it. We're grateful to be on live with you tonight. We have a great guest, as always, on the show. And as always, we are here in the Drew Estate Cigar Studios. And let's talk again about the beautiful new size of the Drew Estate Leather Rose. The spiciest of the Deadwood ladies, Leather Rose features a rich Maduro wrapper around an aromatic and exotic blend of dark, aged, air-cured tobaccos that offer an enchanting, bold, and sweet profile with notes of cedar, oak, white pepper, and earth that will leave you longing for more. The new 4x43 Deadwood Leather Rose Petite Corona will be presented in 24-count boxes with an MSRP of $6.95 per cigar. For more info on all of that, please visit drewestate.com. So episode 129, we're into October.
Mm-hmm.
We had a week off last week to pay tribute to our buddy Tim.
Yes.
And, it's one of those, times it's like, okay, we're excited to see friends. We're not exactly excited for the circumstances why we're there,
yep.
But it was nice to see some friendly faces and to pay tribute to our buddy. And so it was a good tribute.
It was an amazing tribute and a show of how the cigar community can rally around a family and a community to support each other, and it was incredible. And I learned I am not a professional retrohaler.
Garrett needs lessons on retrohaling because Garrett had a problem. He went to retrohale a cigar. We're in a truck. He went to retrohale a cigar.
Okay, so let me just say
it went bad for Garrett.
I have a sensitive, so I rarely retro. Okay, typically if I'm going to retro, they're light cigars. As we're passing around this very special cigar, everybody's like, "Oh, the retro is killer on this. It's amazing." So it's like, all right, here I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I go to retro. I start hacking like nobody's business. Before you know it, I'm out the window dry heaving, and from dry heaving it goes into
because all of us in the truck started egging him on, started making noises, going, "Hey Garrett, you feel okay?" And it just took him over the edge. It was too late. It was all over the side of the truck. It was good times.
Was gross. It was so, oh my gosh. And we know that Tim was there laughing.
Tim was there laughing his ass off the whole time, guaranteed.
Fun.
So both our football teams had ugly, horrible wins yesterday.
They did. But they got it done.
NHL season starts tomorrow. So if you're hockey fans, which we are, being in Minnesota, NHL season starts tomorrow. The Wild open the season on Friday. So if you're into hockey, now is the time, because the pucks are dropping all over the place. Preseason has been gross. That's all I can say. Preseason's been terrible, but it's preseason. So.
I know the dojo guys are really into hockey.
The dojo guys are really into hockey.
We should do a hockey show.
Yeah, let's talk to them. Let's see if they want to do a hockey show. That'd be a good time.
If you guys want to see a hockey show, let us know.
Because
it's about you.
It is about you. And because it's about you, we have, as always, an awesome guest on the show tonight. We are going to learn a lot from this guest, and we're very excited to have him on. And as you guys know, on How About That Cigar Live, special guests of the show are always brought to you by Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, the internet's largest and easiest to use virtual cigar store. Corona Cigar Company offers you the finest handmade cigars, humidors, and cigar accessories at the absolute lowest possible price. You'll also find unique and limited cigars containing Florida sun-grown tobacco. As a proud American, President and founder of Corona Cigar Company, Mr. Jeff Borshowitz, believed it was possible to bring cigar tobacco farming back to Florida. At Corona Cigar Company and coronacigar.com, you'll find the best selection anywhere in the world of cigars containing this special Florida sun-grown tobacco. If you live in Florida or are just visiting, be sure to visit any of the great Corona Cigar locations in downtown Orlando, Sand Lake, Lake Mary, and also the Davidoff of Geneva Lounge in Tampa. For more info on all of that, please visit coronacigar.com and floridasungrown.com. And I'm very glad I made through that ad read without belching, because it's just like right there.
Right there.
All right, guys, episode 129. Let's welcome, please, to the show from JRE Tobacco Company and Aladino Cigars, Justo Eiroa. Welcome to How About That Cigar?
Well, thank you so much, guys, especially Matt and Garrett. You guys, it's a delight to be here tonight, so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me here. And
absolutely.
Let's have some fun.
Yeah, let's do it. And we have a special additional guest to How About That Cigar, and I'm going to bring him onto the studio now. Trey Mack.
Oh, there you go.
Fellas.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
He's got the professional mic and everything. He does. I'm here.
I do a lot of this.
So, and Trey, give us the quick scoop. So, first of all, where are you broadcasting? What would you say you do here?
I'm a rep for JRE Tobacco. The one in-house rep that we've got. So I travel, and bring brand awareness to what I think is the best brand out there going. I mean, met Justo a long time ago. Always told him I wanted to be a part of this family and really get this product rolling, and we finally got it done. So I'm the guy out there hustling.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Every brand needs that guy. So,
and I cut off Matt. Sorry, where are you broadcasting from?
This is my studio in my apartment in Kentucky.
Awesome.
Okay.
Very cool.
Nice. And Justo, where are you broadcasting from this evening?
Here, I got a little office in my house, so that's why I'm not lighting up a cigar now. So that's why.
No worries. Yeah, we'll smoke for you guys. I fired up the Aladino Vintage Selection. It's actually my first time trying the Vintage Selection. I'm loving it right now. Garrett's got the original Aladino.
So not okay. Good.
Good in just the right amount of bad.
It's bad, but good.
So one of the things that we love finding out about, because us being cigar kind of nerds, we love to learn about a lot of the processes and the stuff that a lot of our cigar consumers don't necessarily get to see and hear, but it's such an integral part of the process. And Justo, you actually have a background as an agronomist. You spent so much time around tobacco plants, time in the fields, time with the seeds, and that is such a key part. I mean, it's really where everything starts, if you think about it. So talk a little bit about how your journey started and then led you to where you are.
Well, my dad and I have always been kind of like the farm guys. Always liked the fields. We always working in tobacco. And during the early days, since the beginning, my dad was able to arrive in Honduras and actually become one of the pioneers in developing the tobacco industry in Honduras. Honduras, after the Cuban embargo, was probably one of the first countries to open up. Honduras, like Nicaragua and Dominican Republic, but Honduras probably became the leader in establishing Cuban tobacco options as for raw materials to get tobacco into Tampa. Tampa used to be the capital of cigar manufacturing, and when the Cuban embargo came into place in '62, everybody ran out looking for cigars. Raw materials to make cigars. And Honduras became one of the hottest spots, just like Nicaragua and Dominican Republic. At the same time, the northern part of Florida, Quincy, was also a big tobacco grower. They grew a lot of tobacco for candela. and that's how my dad ended up in Honduras. Was one of the experiments that Oliva Tobacco family took him down there to sort some of the tobacco that was already been planted in Honduras in '62 or '61. And after that, the rest is history. He basically established himself in the valley of Jamastran, and actually developed basically the one of the largest industries during the boom, the first boom of cigars. Honduras was the largest manufacturer of cigar and most tobacco growing country in the world. Now we've fallen behind to third place, but we're still very important in the industry, and we're continue to grow in that area once again.
Yeah.
And if you could take us back to maybe it was a period of time, or maybe it was a moment where you saw your father and you saw the passion that he was putting into tobacco. Do you remember that time where you looked and you were like, that's what I want to do? This is it for me.
Well, it always has been for me. The thing is that my dad and I had very similar personalities. So for a while, we went our separate ways. Mm-hmm. And then back in, I would say, 5-6 years ago, we started talking. And one of the things that is important, I grew up in the Jamastran Valley, and then I went to boarding school. But, I have a lot of friends and family that, work with us. And it's part of something that once you learn how to live in the farm, you fall in love with the farm life and the farm culture and the people around you, and it's a tradition that needs to go on, and it's important for us to continue to pass the torch. And I guess that's one of the things that kind of with my dad we looked at about passing the torch and continuing the tradition. What we've been known for in the industry for a while.
So one of the things that I've always wondered about from a farming standpoint, and this is going kind of deep, cigar nerd here, but it's something I'm really curious about when it comes to the growing of the tobacco in the fields. There's always different challenges that come up, it could be weather, it could be mold, it could be pests. If you had to choose, which is the toughest of those three problems to contend with? Is it weather, is it mold, or is it pests?
Honestly, I think one of the biggest issues that you need to control is the humidity, which has to be the weather. For example, last year with the hurricanes coming in late, we had in the greenhouses close to a little bit over 100 acres of Corojo. We were not able to grow Corojo last year. We still have a lot of inventory, so we're good. But what happened was, we usually keep the seedlings in the greenhouse around 40 to 45 days. And we were already at 60 or 70 days, and we couldn't do nothing out in the fields because it was just too much moisture. And then also, if you have too much moisture, the only thing they have is, you get mold, you can't work, you can't clean it, you get a lot of weeds. So I would say probably if you control humidity and the amount of humidity that goes into the ground, you can control blue mold, you can control a lot of any pests or anything. So I would say humidity is very important. And if you look, for example, today, what happens today in a lot of the places in the desert, wherever it is dry and put hydroponics or drip irrigation, you can actually grow any crop as long as you give it water and nutrients. So, soil is just, you can actually grow tobacco hydroponically. But what I'm explaining to you for me is the excess of water. That's one of the most important things you need to control while you're harvesting or you're growing it too.
And so to bring Trey into this conversation, Trey, tell us a little bit about your origin with Aladino and what you saw in the company that made you want to be a part of that family.
So I guess for me, this goes back to that first year Aladino launched. Justo walked into the store I was running, and that was first time meeting him. And I'm of the age that kind of missed out on the big Camacho days. Everybody was talking about it when I was first getting into the cigars, but with the the brand change with Davidoff buying them. I'd heard stories about the old Camacho, but I didn't really get to experience it necessarily. And Justo walks into the store one day, didn't know he was coming, and I'm sure glad he came in because gave me a few cigars, told me to go, sit down and give it a try. I don't know anything about it. I want to try it out. I'd never had authentic Corojo, and it was a game changer. Within the first third of that cigar, I looked at him and was like, I want to buy everything you got. Whatever you got, I'm buying it. And that was it. I had just never, and I'm a fairly heavy guy. Like, I like bolder flavors. What I really liked about that Corojo was that it was bold in flavor, but it wasn't necessarily a knock you in the face sort of stuff that I was kind of used to, like a big La Flor Dominicana guy. I like a lot of that stuff, but the stuff Justo brought to me was full in flavor, but I retrohaled everything. And I was like, this is like the cleanest, smoothest smoke I've ever had. I was all in. That started everything. And from then on, like our store took off with Aladino super fast. And then we kind of built a really good relationship from there.
Awesome.
Yeah. And that's actually a great segue kind of into this next question. Because just the word Corojo is one of those words in the cigar industry that can have a number of different meanings in some cases. So, Justo, I want you to give us a quick rundown on the differences between, across the world, from different tobacco growing regions in different countries. Give us a rundown on the differences as you see them between Corojo varietals that are commonly seen today. And in your opinion, what sets yours apart from the rest? What's the big difference maker?
Well, the Corojo seed that we have, it was given to us by the Rodriguez family from Cuba in the 90s. And it's one of those varieties that his family started to pre-selecting and selecting, and it went through a process of selection, and they kind of purified that variety for them to use. And it's a variety. It's not a crossbreed. One of the characteristics is, first of all, it's very low yielding, and at the same time, is very, very susceptible to mold. And a lot of people in the industry, when Camacho came out, and everybody was going for that strong taste and powerful, and the diploma and everything like that. Everybody started doing that, but also blue mold started to appear. And then also Cuba had to find an alternative to be able to continue with that Corojo. As a matter of fact, it was one time that I think my brother Christian tried to go and register Corojo, because we actually became the guys that promoted the Corojo smoking of the Corojo branding of cigars. And they denied it because it was basically a region where we were talking about the Corojo leaf. So basically that's what happened. And then they started crossbreeding Habanos and making, the Corojos 2000 and the different varieties, which actually are great tobacco, but it doesn't have that characteristic that Corojo does with that natural peppermint sweetness that it has, that bright, that saltiness that you get when you smoke it on the wrapper. And like I said, that new variety also allows you to get much more yield, and it was also bred to be able to tolerate more the blue mold. So those are the major differences that you see. And there's the industry today. Corojo plays a very important part in the marketing of what people like to consume, and is part of some of the traits that people are looking for in cigars.
Okay. So this is, it took me forever when I was sitting down doing show notes to word this question. So I'm hoping the wording of the question makes sense, because I know what I'm trying to get across. I'm just not sure if I'm going to ask this question the right way. But we've been fortunate to have a lot of guests on this show, yourself included, who have just a wide range of tobacco knowledge. And we've heard from a lot of them that they have seen it as a challenge when taking on a tobacco varietal that's maybe typically known for being grown in a specific country or a specific region. And and then growing a quality crop of that type of leaf, maybe trying to grow it in a region that it's not typically been grown in the past, and making sure that it grows well, that it harvests well, that it cures well, that it ferments well, that it ages well, and still maintains those characteristics that smokers have come to know from that particular type of leaf. Do you have any examples of that where you've tried to grow something in a different place, and what did those challenges look like to get there?
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. I mean, there within our portfolio, I mean, we could definitely grow Connecticut, but in Ecuador, you get a much, it's less challenging to grow Connecticut in Ecuador. They have a microclimate that really favors a beautiful tobacco, very, very shiny, very pretty, yields a lot. In our case, we have to use shade over there. They don't probably not have to use 100% shade. And it's very, very, very successful. At the same time, we have tried also doing a little bit of the San Andreas, and it's very susceptible to black shank in our area. So we just buy our San Andreas tobacco that we use in our Maduro wrappers. But there are some that we really have become experts on. Like we do our Habano, we also do our Corojo, and now we're doing our Cameroon. And those are varieties that, we have felt that growing it in the Hammerstrand Valley, especially in our farm, that we're getting all the characteristics that really perform or are actually known for that, for those particular varieties. And we're super happy and satisfied to be able to be very successful with these. So, I don't know if that answers the question.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just such an interesting thing that we love learning about when we taste different tobaccos and different cigars is, because like you mentioned even a little bit earlier that the soil is so important, that like you said, you could grow tobacco hydroponically, but there's a factor that comes into it when in the soil that you can't get from growing it hydroponically. Would you say that's right?
Absolutely. And not only that, also is extremely important that not only the soil, but you also require a lot of heat and humidity. If you don't have enough humidity when you have it in the tobacco barn, it's not gonna lose the chlorophyll correctly. You might have some parts that will be green, and you need the tobacco to mature and also to ripe. A tobacco leaf is just like a fruit. You require that tobacco leaf to go through a process of being mature and ripe, so that way when you harvest it and then you put it in the tobacco barn, it dries properly, it turns nice and brown, and it goes through a process of curing that will allow it to be able to smoke correctly and also get that natural sweetness. If you harvest it too young, it's going to be green. If it's green, it's going to be a little bit more bitter. And sometimes people confuse bitterness with strength, and strength has nothing to do with bitterness.
Yeah. I got to throw this comment up on screen. So I don't know if Salvatore says he met you back in the 80s when he lived in Honduras. He's one of our YouTube viewers right now. So
there you go. He's a good friend of mine, Salvador.
I had to throw that up on screen. One of the other things I was curious about, because I want to go through, because we have them all lined up here. I want to go through all the, the different varieties of the Aladino line of cigars. But I also, before we get into those, and I want to have both Trey and Justo speak to this, but I also wanted to ask about, because there are some lines that I've experienced in the past. I've smoked them and really enjoyed them, but they don't get talked about as much, and that's the Rancho Luna and the Tadascan line. So are those still available? And if so, how are those performing in the market?
You want to go, Trey Mac, or
you should probably take the Rancho Luna question. That should be you.
No. Actually, Aladino is basically the brand that is really taking over.
Okay.
and it's a more regular Cubanistic cigar, and it's really where now we're focusing on the efforts. Our second and very powerful brand is also Tarascan. It's like we had Camacho, we have Baccarat. It's, we're the creators of Baccarat, the sweet tip cigar, and that's very similar, a little bit smoother and creamier than what we blended before. And then Rancho Luna is a younger brand, but I kind of wanted it to go towards younger individuals. And I got to work on maybe the rebranding and stuff like that. It does well. People love the cigar, but it has a little bit of it hasn't been able to be picked up as easy or brand recognition as the Aladino and the Tarascan. So we're still working on what we need to do with that. So we're it's a struggle. Sometimes 2 out of 3 is not bad, but it's something that it requires a little bit more work. But once we get it going in stores, it becomes one of the crowd favorites. And I think you could actually speak to that, Trey.
Yeah, I've got a handful of stores where that's the number one SKU from us. As soon as they smoke the Rancho Luna, especially the Maduro, man, it's gangbusters from there on out. So it's one of those things that you just have to get it into the store and into people's hands. But everybody thinks of Aladino when they think of us. They want the Aladino. I'm like, well, just try the Rancho Luna. Just give it a shot. And as soon as that happens, it usually works out pretty well.
Nice. Oh, and I have to give a shout out to our friend Vince from Sun Cigar. He's actually who I picked up my lovely selection of Aladino cigars from. So Vince, shout out to you, brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for carrying us.
So I want to just kind of go through. I want to go through the line here, and I'm going to start with selfishly. I'm going to start with, the one that I'm just such a huge fan of, and that's the Aladino Cameroon. We talked about it a little bit ago, but this cigar, I'll say it. It's as much as I enjoy all the cigars in the line, this is my favorite. I love the Aladino Cameroon, especially the Lonsdale size. But it's I love that blend just altogether. Absolutely love it. Then we've got the Maduro, which is actually the only, correct me if I'm wrong, the Maduro is the only soft box press in the line. Is that right?
Yes. We have in the Maduro line, we have the Corona box pressed. We have a Lancero, non-box pressed, a Cazador, a Robusto, and a Toro.
Okay. And was there a reason? Because I'm always curious, because you could do either. You could do a Parejo or you could do a Prensado. Is there a reason why the Maduro was better in the box press?
Well, a lot of people are very used to the Maduro box press to look more elegant and stuff like that. So when you look at the majority of the Maduros that are out there, they, a lot of them are box press. So I just wanted to have, because most of my ones are cylindrical, and I just wanted to have something a little bit different. And and now we also came out with the Corojo Reserva Figurado box presto. So it's throwing a little bit of a curve there. So for people that like box pressed.
Have you ever heard of a thing? It's called a Lancero.
You just said Lancero.
I know.
Garrett is I could say this. Garrett is a Lancero whore.
That's my kind of guy right there.
yeah. Now, believe me, I've been hanging around with a lot of those lately. There, Lancero's coming back.
It is coming back.
Yeah.
And and Trey and I'm sure that we're going to get together offline and talk shop and some other stuff for sure. But the days of saying Lanceros don't sell to retailers, those days are gone. Yep. I am 100% on board with.
Hey, here's a notion. If you tell a retailer that Lanceros don't sell, then they won't sell.
I know.
Shocking how that works.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we have a phenomenal price point for Lanceros too. We're probably the best price Lancero.
Oh yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's that's one of the reasons I wanted to price it out that way. So it's to encourage smokers to try it. I mean, the amount of flavor and complexity you'll get from the wrapper is just phenomenal. So, that's probably one of the biggest challenges that I wanted to bring out there to the guys that smoke cigars, to really give it a shot at the Lancero. It's a wonderful, wonderful gauge, and it's really also shows off the capability of a manufacturer to be to be one of the to be a good manufacturer, because it requires a lot of skills, and it shows off the talent that the rollers and the bunchers have.
Yeah.
Real quick before we move on, Justo, when you are developing a new blend, what vitola do you like to blend in? Because it differs from manufacturer to manufacturer. What's your blending vitola?
Well, the way actually what my dad and I learned that from him. Robusto today and Toro are the most sold sizes. Your baseline has to be, your core line. It's like even if you were to manufacture a car, I mean, if your biggest selling car is a mid-size car, then you use the chassis of a mid-size vehicle, and then you start adding wider wheels and different fronts and different tail ends. But the Robusto is probably the size that we use as kind of the benchmark. And then from there, you start using less leaves and the different wrappers will play a role. But Robusto and Toro today, I would say, are 70% of all sales or 80% of all sales.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got the Aladino Connecticut. So for those of you out there that enjoy Connecticut shade, this one I have yet to try. So I'm going to smoke this one probably tomorrow morning with my coffee. But and then we have Garrett smoking the original,
the Corojo.
The original, yeah.
Reminder wrapper. That's a medium body, full flavor cigar.
100%. You guys, the amount of complexity in this cigar is fantastic. I unfortunately only have sweet drinks here, and so I've stopped drinking because I don't want to mask the natural sweetness that I'm getting from the cigar. I don't want to mask any of the other there's so many unique flavors that are coming out of this. I'm having a ball right now in my face, and you guys should also join that party.
Then the Corojo Reserva, which I'll probably smoke this later tonight, to be honest.
There you go.
After the show's over. And then right now I'm first time with the vintage selection, and I will definitely be getting more of these because it's beautiful. Very similar to what Garrett said. It is extremely full flavored. There's a lot of body to it. There's not really it's very low on the spice factor. It's very low on the strength factor, but it is very, very high on the flavor factor. Yes. The retrohale is like butter on this cigar, on this vintage selection. The retrohale just smooth as could be.
I'm not gonna try that.
Garrett's not gonna retrohale. We don't want another episode.
Come on.
Trey, could you take us through the MSRP of our lineup here? What are we looking at? Ballparkish.
Yeah, for smokers when they go looking at their brick and mortar shops, what are they going to be expecting for price points? Obviously, depending on taxes.
Well, let's start with the vintage you got there. We got winter coming on, and one of my favorite cigars is the Rothschild in that vintage. $6 MSRP. Yeah, I know. Sit back. It's crazy.
Yeah, and for a short smoke, when it's cold, if you're going to be smoking outside for a short smoke, that's
two Rothschilds, 48 by 4.5.
Yeah,
it's perfect. It's perfect for that time of year.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, and then a lot of our new products, like take the Connecticut and the Cameroon. And when you're getting into a Toro, you're looking at $880 MSRP. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. The Super Toro on the Cameroon's a little bit more expensive, but it's still under $10. I mean, $980. I mean, it's the great price point. The Lanceros, all under $10. You can't say that very often, and you're not going to have any issues with our Lanceros. It's amazing. So now the Reserva is a little different. I mean, that's our pride and joy. That's our baby. Right. So you're looking at $12.50 for a Robusto, $14.50 for a Toro, and then $16 on the box press Torpedo that came out at PCA. So,
but like you said, those are special. Those are special cigars, and we always talk about having our viewers and listeners, having consumers really stop and take a minute when they're in their humidor at their brick and mortar shop and they see the prices. Stop and take a minute to think about everything that goes into that product. And there are there products in are there some products in humidors that I think are priced higher than they should be? Probably. But we always encourage everybody, stop and take a second and think about all the people that worked to make that product, all the work that went into it, just to get it to us as consumers. And if we really take a minute to think about it, then it's really not that. It's well worth it.
It's underpriced, if anything. I mean,
yeah,
100%.
If anybody's been, once you go and see the fields and see the work, it's mind blowing. You can't really grasp it until you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of work.
Now, Trey, since you've been on the team, what are some of the things that you've learned in the tools that you've put in your toolbox since joining the JRE team?
You know what? Honestly, for me, the thing that I had to learn the fastest was the world of cigars is not the way it was in Kansas. I mean, I just assumed, and then you hit the road and you're like, well, this city's a little bit different, or even parts of different cities. The flavors, what people go for, it's so different. And you have to kind of be like, well, we've got a big toolbox, JRE. We got a lot of different things going for us. So what's going to fit this location? What are these people? Because you got to get them in first. And then from there, then they'll try the whole line. But being able to pinpoint like different flavors and different even sizes. Take, for instance, said the Lancero's coming back. Well, I can go into a store, and if I see it kind of like a hipsterish kind of joint or a hipsterish area of the city, the Lanceros are going to sell. We're gonna bring those in all day.
Yep.
Hipster. No, I'm joking.
I love it.
So, Justo, I got to ask this question, and this will kind of wrap up the main section, then we'll go into the next part of the show. But I have to ask, is there a particular type of wrapper leaf that you think could still someday earn a place in the Aladino family that you may be experimenting with or may want to someday blend into the Aladino family?
Those are one of the things. For example, we have grown successfully Connecticut broadleaf, and that leaf is just humongous. I mean, that vein that goes in there, it's probably 35, 36 inches, but the vein that goes in there is just huge. And if you look today at most of the consumption of broadleaf, it goes into machine-made cigars or blunts and stuff like that. That's where most of it is. And that's the major use. And one of the things that we were going over with my dad is, I would love to do something just, like a special release, maybe, just a special, 500 or 1,000 boxes for PCA, but it's just working that leaf is so large and it's so hard to work with. And the amount, of leftover that you get is it's huge. Yeah. So even though I want to, but it might be something that it's just too much. You just too much throwaways. It's not efficient. For example, when we buy Connecticut or we use Corojo wrapper, we might use 3 to 5 pounds per 1,000 cigars of wrapper. On this, we might be using 12, 14, or 15 pounds. So it becomes very expensive when you use that unless you already buy it cut or especially made for you to roll. So it's those things because, this is something I would like to do, but I don't know if it's feasible for us now or just people just buy it and they just buy the wrappers and I don't know how they purchase it.
Yeah. Well, and that's understandable. We've heard that from a lot of people that seems to be a common theme that broadleaf it's very tricky. There's so many different aspects that make it a tricky leaf to grow, tricky leaf to cure, ferment, roll, everything. So yeah, that's understandable that you gotta because you don't want to just say, let's just put a broadleaf wrapper on a cigar and put it out there. You want it to be right. You're not just gonna, rush something to market unless it's the right product, and and also on the back end, you've got to make sure, like you said, that you've got a place to send all that extra, the center rib and the center vein and all that, and because you can't use it in premium cigars, but maybe somebody else can use it, but you can't just have it laying around, right?
And what my dad explained to me when he was shown back in his early days, he was traveling and selling to the big companies, the Candela wrapper, is that basically you put, they have these huge warehouses that they would, they would harvest the broadleaf and just put it in these wooden crates. They would stay there for 3 to 4 years, just aging. So, it's a longer process. It's not done normally in pilones because the leaf is just too big to be able to handle in a pilon. It's just massive.
Yeah. Well, I think.
You think
is it?
I think it's time.
Is it time?
It's time.
It is now time for this week's Numero de los Muertos.
There you go, Mr. Primack.
And as always, Numero de los Muertos is brought to us by our friends at Smoke Inn. All right, Numero de los Muertos, episode 129. Garrett, what do you have for us this week?
All right. So this week, the number is a 10-year average. Between 2008 and 2018, the number is 90 people died from this. No, I'm sorry, on average, every year.
On average.
On every year, on average, 90 people died from this.
From 2008 to 2018.
Yes.
All right. As always, our guests on the show and me, we're going to play 20 questions and try to guess what Garrett's talking about. And our viewers, if you guys have guesses, put them in the comments. We're all going to play along. All right. 2008 to 2018, an average of 90 people a year died from this. So, guys, we can start with yes or no questions. Location, is it worldwide? U.S. only.
Is an animal involved?
Such a great,
excellent question.
And it is not.
No animals.
How about an insect? Animals are different than an insect.
Nope. No insect.
Are vehicles involved?
Vehicles are not involved.
No vehicles.
It is not disease related.
Not disease. Is it is it water? Is it on water or land?
Irrelevant.
Irrelevant. Okay. All right.
Is there a part of the body that's more susceptible?
You could certainly say that. That's a very interesting
question.
That's
a very good question.
Well, he's 5 years of medicine, so you should be able to get it.
Yeah.
Too much. Too much time in school.
Yeah.
Actually, they drained my little cyst that I had. Remember, you told me exactly what you told me.
Yeah, looks better.
Yeah, it doesn't pop out.
It is not.
Oh, Aaron says high wire electrocution.
It is not.
Not. Are they workplace accidents?
They are not.
They are not workplace accidents.
So stabbed by your wife. They probably went up right after running COVID.
Yeah, COVID. Yeah, it went up. Is it alcohol poisoning? Mark says
it is not. But I will say that was the That was the closest guess so far.
Chad says priapism. I don't know what that is. Trey, what is that?
I honestly don't know what priapism is.
Oh, all right.
Cool.
Part of me wants to Google it, but part of me scared to Google it, so I'm not going to Google it.
It's not, I don't think, but
all right, so they're not workplace accidents.
no, but remember, Mark's guess of alcohol poisoning is the closest guess we've had so far. It is not, so we're not it is not
snake bites.
No, we had snake bites as a guess.
No,
no animal related. So is it drug related? Technically, yes, it is considered a drug.
Is it energy drinks?
Getting closer.
Vape?
Oh, is it vape?
It is not.
Better not be butane.
Justin Lawler for the win.
Oh,
is it really?
It is.
As I sit here drinking my coffee.
Yeah, and I'm drinking caffeinated water myself.
I don't think is there caffeine in rum? Otherwise, I'm good. I'm good.
So caffeine takes on average 90 people a year, and it's usually an overdose or an underlying heart condition or some other thing. But caffeine, it can do it, man. People can overdo it.
Poke your head in here. This is Justin Lawler. He was not only the correct guesser, he's also the newest member of the HBTC team.
Love it.
So, and no, he was not fed the answer. He just came up with that on his own.
Yep.
So did he Google priapism? Because I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
Priapism? Yeah, Google priapism.
It's not a good idea
because I'm not doing it on mine.
Don't do it on your computer. No.
Do it incognito tab.
I'm pretty sure I dissected this part of the body at one point in time.
Priapism is no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
Nope. It has
Chad, you are a bad man.
Yeah, bad man.
Just think Viagra.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about that. So that was this week's.
I want to know why Chad knows that.
Yeah, Chad, how do you know that?
Yeah, tell us about your condition.
Tell us about your experience. Do you want to talk about it? Just open up. Just talk about it. It's okay.
There's no judgment. Toenail fungus.
There's no judgment.
All right. That was this week's
Numero de los Muertos. All right. Okay, let's jump into the lightning rounds. Justo, let's start with you. If you could hear the thoughts of one living person for 10 minutes, who would it be and why?
Probably Ronald Reagan.
Oh, living person.
Oh, living person. That's right.
I'd love to hear Ronald Reagan's thoughts too, but it's got to be a living person.
A living person. Huh. You know what? I like General Kelly. He's a retired Marine guy, so his thoughts of what's going on in the country and the world.
Yeah, I dig that. That's a good answer. Trey, what about you?
I think just because of what's going on right now as we speak, I would never have said this before, but I would love to know what's going on in John Gruden's head right about now.
That is such a good answer.
I love that.
John Gruden. I want to, because he's got so many facial expressions. I mean, really, he's only got two, but they're variations. I want to see the thought bubble over his head.
Or maybe we don't. Maybe we don't.
Maybe we don't. Yeah.
Right. But did you see that little where he had Frank Caliendo come in?
To
do him.
Yeah.
Like that.
Did they win? Try or they lose? I don't watch the game. John
Gruden. No, that's. Are you talking about right now, or are you talking about yesterday?
Or yesterday, or whatever.
The Raiders that they finally lost.
They did not win yesterday. Yeah. They lost to a bad team.
Okay, that's how you were. That's the question. No, I had him in Tampa Bay. Remember, I'm a Tampa Bay Bucks fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tampa Bay is not a bad team.
Nope.
All right, so next question. Let's start with you first on this one. if you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
Oh, well, the soundtrack to Roadhouse, probably.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Just be nice.
Just
be nice.
Yeah. Dalton for the win.
Oh, I love it. Super quick side note. So you remember the villain in Roadhouse, the fighter guy with the perfect hair and the feather around his neck?
Yes.
That dude was also in the movie Armageddon. He
What?
was one of the space shuttle pilots in Armageddon. Blew my mind. The other day I was literally just like so bored and just like I was so done with work and other work and other work that I was like, I need to just veg. So I just went on Netflix and I was like, Armageddon. It's a movie I don't have to think about at all. I just put on Armageddon and I was like, that's the dude from Roadhouse.
No way.
So I couldn't believe it.
I'm totally gonna have to look that up now.
Yeah. So Justo, same question for you. If you were about to get into a fight, what would your soundtrack music be?
And I like Rocky, so do the Eye of the Tiger if I'm going to get pumped up.
Yeah. One of the most popular answers. Absolutely. All right. So let's do this one. Actually, I want to do. So Justo, did you have, when you were a kid or a teenager, did you have a celebrity crush?
Yes. Is it Cindy Crawford?
Yeah, that is a fantastic answer.
That is a great answer.
I still have a crush on her. She looks phenomenal.
I know. Trey, what about you?
My favorite female of all time, Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I'm not mad at that at all.
Hewitt.
Yeah.
Different generation.
Different generation.
Well, yeah, it is. So she
was in a lot of bad movies, but
yeah, she was.
Oh, was she in that? There was that one horror movie. I think she was in it. Yeah.
Was she in? She wasn't in Scream.
No, it was. I Know What You Did Last Summer. She was in that.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
I remember her. She is quite lovely. All right, so okay, I got to ask this one. So, if you could add any person to Mount Rushmore, it doesn't matter who they are or what they did. They could be a president, they could be anybody from any part of the world. Who would you add to carve their face on Mount Rushmore?
Trey, go ahead.
Wow, that's a good one. Honestly, I think I might have to go with Jackie Robinson.
Because love it.
That's a great answer.
I love it.
Great answer.
Because what he did transcended everything.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, that's the first time we've heard that answer. It's a great answer.
That's a great answer.
Love it. Justo, what about you? Who's the next person
Well,
going
now
up?
we use him because he actually did change the world. The wall came down and everything. It's Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I like it. The Gipper.
Yeah, that guy actually did change the world. I mean, that, tore down the wall. A whole new world appeared after him.
Diana says J-Lo.
J-Lo. I don't know if I'd put J-Lo on, or are we talking celebrity crush? Is that celebrity crush, or is that
Mount Rushmore?
Mount Rushmore.
Funny enough, I had a poster of J-Lo next to my poster of Jennifer Love Hewitt next to my bed growing up. So
both valid answers.
It's a true story. Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this week's Notable Smokable. And as always, on How About That Cigar Live, Notable Smokable is brought to us by our friends at Ace Prime Cigars. Notable cigars, notable passion, notable purpose. So guys, each week we each of us on the show, we name a cigar that we've smoked recently that was notable to us. It could be a cigar that's been on the market for decades that we just smoked again for the first time in a while, or it could be something brand new that we just tried for the first time. So Trey, let's start with you. Is there something recently you smoked that really caught your interest?
Yeah, the La Aurora 107 Nicaragua.
Yes.
I think it gets overlooked a lot, and I went back to it recently and I was like, I love it just as much as when it just came out. What was that, a year ago or so? But
yeah,
I absolutely love that cigar. It's something that I can smoke it all day long.
Good call.
Very nice. So Justo, obviously you're smoking JRE stuff all the time, but do you get a chance every once in a while to go outside of your brand and try stuff that's out there?
I actually did. I actually tried my brother's 1118 Cameroon. Pretty nice. A little bit different, a little bit more spice to it than ours. He likes to blend a little bit stronger. And, so that's another brand I go out and branch out and smoke.
Okay.
Very cool.
Nice. Garrett, what was your notable this week, Garrett?
Well, we have to do what we do here in cigar media is an absolute blessing. And we have companies that send us stuff in, and we are absolutely blessed and grateful for that. And we were honored to get some stuff in from Davidoff and got in the Chef's Blend.
Oh,
and
yeah, it's nice.
Hello, butter. hello, boldness and butter. And if that Davidoff band wasn't on there, there's no way you would have told me that it was a Davidoff.
Yeah,
like it didn't say Davidoff to me at all, but it was all delicious.
Yeah, it was a good cigar. Absolutely. My notable this week was the Atabey in the sort of the Robusto size. They call it the Brujos, I believe. And it was a cigar we smoked at our buddy Tim's memorial service. Mm-hmm. And it was the last one from a box that I was given as a gift, and just seemed like the right time to smoke that last one. And again, that blend is just, it's a really nice blend. Very, very nice. Hey, Luciano, our brother, saying hello. So that was my notable this week. And here he is in the comments saying hello, Luciano. As always, notable smokables are brought to us by our friends at Ace Prime. There's the graphic. There it is. So we just want to thank them for sponsoring this segment as always. But now, real quick, I want to give our viewers and listeners of an idea of some stuff we have coming up in the next few weeks. We have some very cool shows coming up. Next week on Monday, the 18th, we have Dan Thompson from McAuliffe Cigars. And then on the 25th of this month, we have Steve Saka from Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. And then on the 1st of November, we actually have the first episode in a new series that we're going to start doing. And I'm going to have Garrett talk us through it briefly. Garrett came up with this cool concept for a new series we're going to start doing. And it'll probably be a quarterly series. We'll maybe do one episode per quarter on this new idea that Garrett had.
Yeah, so I was talking with, I was recently introduced to this guy at work, 25-year-old kid, and super smart. We had a lot of stuff in common and just talking. And I said, have you ever had a premium cigar? And he says, no. And I said, well, before you leave today, I'll get you a cigar. But then I got to thinking about it. This guy has never had a cigar in his life, and he's willing to try cigars. And it's something that, because he's done beer and other, things, and gets into the craft stuff. So I was like, wait, would you be willing to come on the show and do a total 101? And he was like, I have my own, Twitch stream. I've podcasted. So he's good on camera. He's good in front of people talking. He's well-spoken. He's like, fantastic. Why don't we have you on the show? We can meet at a reputable tobacconist in our area. We'll start in the shop. We'll start in the humidor. Look what to look for in the humidor, what to look for in your tobacconist, because not all humidors have good tobacconists. So to give part of that education, and then walk them through the entire cut and light process, and how we start to develop palettes, what we start to look for in flavors, because that is all a process. It takes a while. And that's why we're going to repeat this process quarterly and just follow his journey. Yeah. And we're super excited for that. So yeah, look forward to that on November 1st.
Yeah. So that's going to be fun to take him through the process of picking out the first cigar, lighting it up, experiencing that for the first time. And then, a few months later, see what he's been smoking over the last couple months, what he's enjoying, bring them back into the humidor, pick out some other new things, and take them down the road of maybe starting to get into retrohaling a little bit, maybe some pairings, stuff like that. So there's some good possibilities. We're excited to go through the journey with a brand new cigar smoker and see where it leads. Absolutely. So you guys get to take that journey with us. So guys, give our viewers and listeners, before we close out the show, give our viewers and listeners an idea. Where's the best place for them to keep up with everything going on with JRE and Aladino?
Well, we have Aladino Cigars on Instagram. We also have a Facebook page, and also our website is pretty good. It's got kind of all the locations. We're basically a brick and mortar company. We have not branched out into any of the big catalogs. So look for your brick and mortars. We're pretty strong in Southeast. Also the Northeast. The Texas area, California, and now we're slowly expanding into the Midwest. But we are basically, Corona Cigars is a big supporter of us. It's one of your sponsors. So you can also go into Corona Cigars. So it's and there's other stores, but since they're your sponsors, and they do a fantastic job. Trey Mac, anything you want to add?
Yeah. T-Mac Aladino Cigars is my Instagram. So I kind of, wherever I'm going, I kind of post along the way. So that's a good way for people to know, at least in my 11 states, where to go for Aladino. JREtobacco.com, of course, and hashtag Aladino Cigars.
Nice.
Does your website have a store locator on it?
Yes, yes, it
does.
Website? Yes,
fantastic.
It does.
Yeah. Well, guys, we are so grateful that you spent time with us tonight. Our viewers and listeners learned a lot. We learned a lot, and we appreciate your time. Look forward to having you on again and continuing to learn and, go down this journey that we love so much in premium cigars. So thank you so much for being on tonight.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both. Thank you, Trey Mac, for taking a little bit of time tonight. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. This has been a blast. Appreciate it.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Hang out in the green room for just a second.
Yeah. Hang out with us after we do the outro. So viewers and listeners, guys, as always, we are so grateful for you for watching us live on Facebook and live on YouTube, for all the comments and questions. We love it. Keep them coming. If you guys have questions during the week for Garrett or myself, you can email us directly on the website, howaboutthatcigar.com. Follow us on all social media at HBT Cigar. And of course, until we see you next time, burn cigars,
not bridges.
See you guys.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Everybody.